Hello, I'm Bill Gates, Chairman of Microsoft. In this video, you're going to see the future.
The quickest way to destroy a dream is with these three simple words: be more realistic. Most people hear that and it's over. The dream dies right there. But every once in a while, someone refuses to listen. They hold on to the so-called dream, even when everyone around them says it's impossible. And those are the people who end up proving the rest of the world wrong.
I would be in the NBA.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes, I would.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes, I would.
Why would you think you could make it to the NBA?
Because I think I could do anything.
Take Kanye West, for example, who once claimed, "If I quit music today, I could make it to the NBA." People laughed, argued, said he had no chance. But notice what's happening there. He isn't asking for permission. He isn't waiting for proof. He's convinced that if he decides something, it's already possible. Or Conor McGregor, who stood in front of a camera and said, with zero hesitation,
"Without a doubt, you will see me on the UFC in the near future. Without a doubt."
no resume, no guarantees, just raw certainty. Most people look at that kind of confidence and call it arrogance. But here's the strange part. History shows that it's usually people like this, people delusional enough to ignore limits, who end up changing the game. And the pattern keeps repeating. Anytime the world insists something can't be done, someone comes along who refuses to believe it. But maybe the best example of this isn't a rapper or a fighter. It's a story from the world of sports that shocked the entire planet. Back in the 1950s, the mile was haunted by 4 minutes. It wasn't just a record, it was a wall nobody could climb. Coaches said it couldn't be trained for. Journalists called it the speed limit of the human body. Even doctors claimed the strain would cause the body to break down. So year after year, runners got close, but never close enough. The record sat at 4:01, like a locked door taunting the world. Then came Roger Bannister. Not a full-time athlete, not a celebrity, just a 25-year-old medical student who trained during his lunch breaks. To most people, his odds were a joke, but Bannister didn't care. He believed the wall wasn't real. On May 6th, 1954, on a windy track in Oxford, he proved it. 3 minutes, 59.4 seconds. The barrier crumbled and the crowd erupted, but here's the twist. Once Bannister did it, the floodgates opened. Within weeks, other runners broke the same record. What was impossible for nearly a decade suddenly looked easy. The wall had never been physical. It was mental. Everyone was trapped by belief, until one person refused to play by those rules. When you're a kid, nobody laughs when you say you want to be an astronaut or a superstar or the next big gamer. In fact, people cheer you on. They say, go chase it. But somewhere around high school, the tone changes. Suddenly, I want to be a pro athlete turns into, well, maybe you should have a backup plan. Saying you want to be a YouTuber, a streamer, or even start your own brand, people roll their eyes. Come on, bruh, that's the switch. Childhood is about dreaming. Adulthood is about downsizing. And most people do exactly that. They shrink their goals until they fit inside the box everyone else approves of. But here's the thing, every industry that exists today, the apps you use, the music you stream, even the people you binge watch online, was built by someone who ignored that advice. Someone who got told it'll never work and did it anyway. And it makes you wonder, how many of those stories never happened? How many people had a billion-dollar idea or insane talent but gave up because someone convinced them it was stupid? The ones who ignore that voice, the ones who hold on, are usually the ones who flip the script. And one kid who did exactly that grew up to become one of the richest people on the planet. I know, Bill Gates is always the example in this type of story, and maybe you're tired of hearing about him. But the reason people keep bringing him up is because his path shows exactly how unrealistic thinking flips into reality. Today, Gates is worth more than entire countries. But rewind back to when he was a teenager and he was just another kid in Seattle messing around with a clunky computer his school barely got access to. At the time, almost nobody had even touched one. His friends were thinking about college majors or safe careers, while Gates was writing lines of code on a machine that looked more like a typewriter than a laptop. He was supposed to be a lawyer. That was the respectable path. Instead, he ditched law school with his friend Paul Allen to chase this insane idea that one day every person would own a computer. People thought it was absurd. Computers in every home? Who would need that? But they went all in anyway. And that stupid idea became Microsoft. For the first 5 years, the company barely made money. Gates wasn't some overnight billionaire. He was a broke dropout, grinding through endless code, working 18-hour days, skipping weekends, skipping vacations, while people around him kept saying it would never work. And yet, when the timing finally hit, the IBM deal, the explosion of personal computers, it looked like he'd pulled off the impossible. But the truth is, it wasn't just luck. It was 5 years of ignoring everyone who told him to quit. And that's the piece people forget. Behind every overnight success, there's usually a long stretch of nothing working until suddenly it does. Here's the part nobody likes to talk about. For years, Microsoft wasn't some billion-dollar empire. It was a struggling startup. Gates and Paul Allen weren't sipping champagne in corner offices. They were losing money, fighting just to stay alive. And Gates himself, he was a machine. 18-hour days, 7 days a week, no vacations, no weekends. He once admitted he didn't even believe in taking a day off. From age 20 to 30, he basically lived inside the office. Friends would crash, burn out, or quit, but Gates just kept going. Now, yeah, luck was part of it. Being born into an upper middle class family, getting access to a computer at a time when almost no one had even seen one, that mattered. But here's the thing, luck alone doesn't get you there. If Gates didn't put in that insane level of grind, Microsoft would have been just another failed startup. That's the uncomfortable truth about these stories. Everyone wants to point to the lucky break, but they skip the years of nothing working. And that's why, from the outside, it looks like magic, like someone suddenly blew up overnight. But from the inside, it's 5, 8, sometimes 10 years of failure stacked on top of each other until finally one thing clicks. And this isn't just Gates. The same exact pattern shows up in another industry entirely. Hollywood, and the person I'm talking about? Quentin Tarantino. Quentin Tarantino is one of the biggest directors on the planet now. But rewind to his 20s, and he was just a broke video store clerk who couldn't catch a break. For 8 years, he wrote script after script that nobody wanted. Rejections piled up. Friends told him to move on. Logic said, "It's not working, dude. Give it up." But he didn't. He was obsessed. Delusional, even. And then, snap. Everything flipped. His first film actually got made, and boom, it tripled its budget at the box office. From that guy wasting his life to Hollywood genius practically overnight. He wasn't suddenly good at filmmaking. He became good during those 8 invisible years where nothing seemed to work. That's where his style, his voice, and his craft actually got built. That's the uncomfortable truth. The struggle years are the training years. but nobody sees them. From the outside, Tarantino looked like an overnight success. From the inside, he was a guy who refused to quit long enough for the opportunity to finally line up. And you'll notice, it's the same exact pattern we saw with Gates. Years of looking crazy, then one break that changes everything. None of these people looked special in the beginning. They weren't superheroes. What they had was something most of us get told to tone down. Confidence that doesn't make sense yet. It's when you keep believing even when the results aren't there. When everyone around you says, "Come on, be realistic," but you act like it's only a matter of time. To the outside world, it looks cocky, maybe even ridiculous. But in reality, that's often the only thing that keeps you pushing long enough to actually get good. Roger Bannister didn't magically run faster than science said was possible. He just refused to buy into the limit. Gates didn't stay up coding 18 hours a day because he had proof he'd be a billionaire. He just believed something no one else did. Tarantino didn't grind through 8 years of failure because he enjoyed rejection. He trusted that one day it would click. That kind of self-belief is like a shield. It keeps you from giving up before the payoff comes. By the time opportunity finally shows up, you're not some random who got lucky. You're ready because you've been preparing the whole time. Most people think, "I'll believe in myself once I see results." But the people who actually make it, they flip it. They believe first, and that belief fuels the results. So the real question is this: if you gave just one dream in your life, that kind of unshakable self-belief for a full decade, where could you actually end up? If there's one pattern in all these stories, it's this. Success almost never looks like success at the start. It looks like failure. It looks like wasted time. It looks like people laughing at you, calling you unrealistic, telling you to quit. Most people listen, they fold, they move on, but the few who don't, the ones who keep pushing through the boring, invisible years, are the ones we end up reading about in history books, or watching on screen, or streaming on our phones. It's not about being the chosen one. It's not about being born lucky. It's about staying in the game long enough for the luck to finally land on you. And yeah, maybe you don't want to build the next Microsoft, or direct the next Pulp Fiction, or break a world record. That's not the point. The point is, you only get one shot at this life. So why waste it playing small, just because someone else told you to? At the end of the day, it's simple. You can play it safe. Drag yourself through Mondays you can't stand. Or you can go after what actually excites you, even if you look stupid doing it, but at least you'll know you tried. Right? Alright, that's it from me, guys. And yeah, do the usual YouTube thing, like subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Thank you.